Today, we're going to talk about how to meet new people if you have social anxiety. I'm about to share with you the exact same process that I've used to build rapport with anybody, no matter how nervous I feel. By the end of the video, you'll be able to create more meaningful connections with others, so make sure you watch the whole thing. Tip number 1 is to follow your curiosity. As someone who used to be socially anxious, I had a bad habit of ruminating all the time. I was overly concerned about what people thought of me. That's why I was always in my head. Even though I was physically present during my interactions, mentally, I was somewhere else. As a result, I had a lot of trouble interacting with others. And if you think about it, it's hard to keep talking to someone who appears to be distracted all the time, right? If you can relate to that and you want to know how to meet new people if you have social anxiety, you need to shift your focus. Take the attention away from yourself and put it on others instead. Keep in mind that we're all different and we all have things that we're naturally good at. That's why I'm encouraging you to view yourself as a student. Follow your curiosity and see what you can learn from others. The next time you talk to someone, ask yourself what's so interesting about them. Actively listen by leaning forward and nodding in agreement to acknowledge what they're sharing. Doing so will help you become more present and lessen your anxiety as well. You'll also make anybody you interact with feel more important. Just think about it. Imagine how good it feels when the person you're talking to is truly listening to you. It's pretty amazing, right? Again, if you're wondering how to become more memorable to others, be present and practice being a good listener. By doing so, people will leave the interaction with a positive impression of you and they'll look forward to seeing you again. Tip number 2 is to get good at making small talk. From what I've noticed, most people, especially introverts, hate making small talk. They find it draining and just want to get into deep conversations right away. And you know what? I totally get it. Unfortunately, that's just not how things work. Whether you like it or not, you have to be able to have casual conversations with someone that you just met. In order to build rapport with others, it's good to exchange polite pleasantries first. It's weird to ask someone you don't know well yet such a personal question too early, right? You have to get them to warm up to you and ease them into the conversation. If you don't know how to do this, then you have lots of awkward silences when you interact with people. This can make whoever you're talking to feel uncomfortable, which can make them not want to continue interacting with you. And this is why you have to get good at making small talk. The better you are at doing this, the more meaningful interactions you're going to have. One of the best ways to come up with things to discuss with others is to be more observant. Get out of your head and just look around you. Use your environment or the situation that you're in to help you come up with interesting things to talk about. For example, if you're at a party, you can ask someone how they know the host. If you're at a coffee shop and someone's reading a book, you can ask them how they like it so far. If you're at a conference, you can ask the other person what they're hoping to learn from the speakers. By being able to exchange polite pleasantries, you'll be able to gather relevant information. This will help you learn more about the person you're chatting with. As a result, you'll be able to lead the interaction more intentionally into topics that both of you will be into. As you can see, making small talk is just a means to an end. It's a stepping stone to having deeper conversations, so make sure you take the time to learn about it. Tip number 3 is to go to the right places. At the end of the day, we all have places, venues, and events that make us feel more comfortable compared to others. That's why where you go to socialize makes a huge difference. In order to meet new people if you have social anxiety, you have to be more intentional with the way you put yourself out there. If not, then you'll experience a lot of rejection, which can be discouraging. And if you always feel defeated, you'll be less likely to want to go out and interact with people, right? If you can relate to that, I know exactly where you're coming from. As someone who used to be shy, I got a lot of bad information while I was trying to improve my social confidence. A lot of the material that I read back then said that I had to go to bars and clubs to interact with people. And even though I hated going to those places, I forced myself to do it anyway. Time and time again, I ended up just getting drunk because I felt so overwhelmed and nervous. If you've done that before, just know that you don't have to go to those places if you don't want to. Instead, what you'll want to do is to leverage your strengths. You can do this by adding a social component to your passions, hobbies, and interests. For example, instead of reading a book at home, go to a trendy coffee shop. Join a fitness class instead of working out by yourself. If you want to meet other creative individuals, sign up for photography or writing classes. Do you see how that works? Remember, mutual interest is the foundation of every great relationship. Isn't it so much easier to talk to someone who likes the same things as you? My advice to you is to focus on meeting people whose values align with yours. That way, you'll be able to create quality connections while doing something that you enjoy. To help you out, I made a free cheat sheet that will show you how to approach and talk to anybody. You can download a free copy by going to socialconfidencemastery.com. That link is also available in the description below. Tip number 4 is to ask open-ended questions. Remember, the quality of your questions will determine how effortless your interactions feel. Whatever you do, don't make the mistake of asking too many closed-ended questions back to back. This can make your conversation seem like an interview, which can feel pretty intrusive. In fact, this is a common issue that I see a lot with our clients in our social skills coaching program. Most of them have careers in tech and work in isolation. They're paid to think analytically and don't have a lot of opportunities to talk to others. They struggle socially simply because they lack awareness and experience doing so. In order to connect with people if you have social anxiety, make it a point to ask more open-ended questions instead. By doing so, you'll encourage the person you're speaking with to share more. For example, instead of asking someone, "Do you like your job?" you can ask, "What do you like most about your job?" Do you see the difference? The first question can be answered with a yes or no, while the second one requires more of an explanation. Keep in mind that people love talking about themselves anyway, so go ahead and let them. The more they talk, the less you have to, and the more information you have to work with. That could trigger other topics that both of you can potentially discuss. As a result, you'll have lots of options for where you want the conversation to go. You'll have an easier time maintaining your interactions, which will help you build deeper connections with others. By the way, if you're tired of struggling socially and you want to learn more about a social skills coaching program, I'd love to connect with you. Book your free consultation today by going to socialconfidencemastery.com. That link is also available in the description below. Tip number 5 is to express yourself better verbally. As someone who used to be socially anxious, I found it very difficult to interact with people. In fact, I remember being so shy back in high school that I ate my lunch in a bathroom stall. I was so afraid of getting rejected, that's why I just kept to myself. As a result, I struggled to make friends, let alone get dates. I spent a lot of Friday and Saturday nights alone because I didn't have anybody to hang out with. I knew that if I didn't do anything differently, my situation wasn't going to improve. The last thing that I wanted was to look back at my life when I was older and end up with a lot of regrets. Sick and tired of always feeling left out, I made a decision to look more into this issue. That's when I realized that social skills are just that, skills. It's no different than learning an instrument or playing a new sport. With the right information and enough practice, anybody can become more outgoing. You too can connect with people if you have social anxiety, if you're willing to work on your communication skills. To help you get started, you have to learn how to express yourself better verbally by telling good stories. The next time you share something, make sure you structure it properly. That way, your stories actually make sense and don't just come off like a random thought. What you'll want to do is to set things up first. Give some background information and create contrast if it applies. Avoid using too much facts and talk more about how things make you feel instead. By doing so, you'll make your stories more relatable and captivating. Lastly, release the tension that you've built up when you talk about the resolution and make your point. To help you hold people's attention better, make sure you work on your delivery. Remember, your hands convey trust, so do your best to keep them out of your pocket. Instead, use them to illustrate your ideas and accentuate important parts of whatever you're sharing. To make your stories more dynamic, avoid talking in a monotonous voice too. If not, then you'll bore people to death whenever you speak. In this case, try to vary your tonality when you tell your stories. Speak slower when you're talking about something serious. Be more animated whenever you share something that excites you. Look, if you're not used to doing any of this, just realize that this will take time. You have to be patient with yourself because you're not going to get things right immediately. If you're willing to, pretend you're talking to someone and record yourself while you're sharing your story. That way, you'll be able to observe your body language and hear how you sound. This will help you make the necessary adjustments before you go out and interact with others. By doing so, you'll be able to convey your ideas effectively and build rapport with whoever you talk to much faster. If you would like to be able to connect with more like-minded individuals, then make sure you watch this next video. That's where I give you more actionable tips on how to become more social. By the end of it, you'll learn how to have more people to do fun activities with, so make sure you check it out.